This is the first episode of the Uprising. I am your host with the most, Choice, representing ESO Media, Epic Shit Only. The other half of ESO Media, my bro God Adi, working the camera right now. And we are so excited to have you guys in for the very first installment of the Uprising interview series, where we interview some of the hottest local artists and then also give them a chance to perform a dope song right for you guys right here on camera. And to my left right now, our very first artist on this season, Mr. Ry'kno, Ryan Ledesma, one half of DLB, them Ledesma boys.
Yes,
shout out to Devin out of Wichita Falls, Texas. Ry'kno, my man.
What's up, bro? Man, thank y'all for having me.
Hey, of course,
man.
Of course,
always down to reconnect with you guys and just kick it. You know what I mean? So it's an honor to be here, man.
Yeah, go on and tell the people a little about yourself, man. Where you from? What got you started doing the music?
Wichita Falls, Texas. I started doing music with my brother. You know, my dad and his brothers were also into music, as well as his dad and his brothers. You know what I mean? So it kind of like trickles down the family. You know, they had built like a studio in the back of my grandma's, and my dad was rapping at the time, writing R&B tracks and shit. And my uncles were doing R&B, and you know they were always doing Tejano too, like with the band and stuff like that. And I just remember he was like making this beat, like this funky, like fucking old school 90s type beat, you know?
Yeah.
And I wrote like a rhyme because I saw him rhyming, and it was like, my name is Ryan. I got to be rhyming. And, he heard that and he's like, all right, I'm gonna go with that. He was probably high, drunk, something like that, you know, smoking. Shit,
Yeah.
like, but
he's like, hey, little homie got it. You know, it's cool.
Yeah.
You rhyming with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So he like put me on, and then my brother saw it and he was like, you know, fuck, I want to do that too. So my dad wrote him a verse, and then ever since then, like, you know, just being a kid doing that shit, we fell in love with the craft. We, you know, grow up, you know, listening to hip hop because, you know, we saw it, we were practicing it. So like, yeah, man, that's kind of what got me and him started, and it just became a love, you know what I mean? Like,
So was Pops was pushing it, or was it just something he was just doing just to do?
He never pushed us to do it, man. He just had us around and was doing it, you know what I mean? And we just saw him do it like as a kid, and you know, saw him in the studio. You know, when you see the shit like that as a kid, you're like, damn, that's cool. Like, I want to try that. Like, just being in that atmosphere makes you feel like a cool ass kid, you know what I mean? So it's like when we're in the booth, when we're recording a song, you know, we get to show the family like, hey, we just made this song. You know, of course it sucks ass, but like,
you remember your first rap? Like, that was your very first one?
The first one, yeah, that I wrote. For sure.
What was your first artist name? Has it always been Ry'kno?
Ry'kno, I think. Yeah. Well, not back then. No, I think it was just Ryan. Back then, like when I was a little baby, like a little kid, I was like 5th grade. I don't even know if I had. I don't know if I had a lot of different ones. I wanted to be called Zero for some reason.
That's taken.
Yeah. and you know what I mean? Like, I was just like hearing nicknames on shows and shit.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to be that.
My man was watching Holes.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Holes.
Side note, before I was Odyssey, I was 15, 16. My rap name was Prodigy. And that was before I knew it was the
Prodigy
from my beat.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
That's how it goes, man. When you like just young, you know what I mean? You want to be called all this other shit from like shit that you see, and then you just like, oh, somebody already got that.
these lame, corny names. You in the moment it sounds cool. I want to say my first one was X-Man.
Oh yeah,
I was X-Man because Xavier.
X-Man.
So my first line, like I don't remember the whole song, but my first line of my first song I wrote, I said, yeah, I'm the X-Man riding in the body bands, going to the mall to hang out with my friends.
Yeah.
It was so, at the moment it was cool, but you know, I'm 10 years old. I can't drive.
Right.
You know? I can't drive. I'm saying I ain't got no body bends. Like, what do you?
Yeah, no, we had some of those tracks too. Like, we're in the club, you know what I'm saying? Ladies, throw your hands in the air.
Ain't even old enough to get in the
Exactly,
club, but you
like-
in the club.
Yeah, we just fucking popping bottles at fucking 11 years old. Shit.
So when did it start to like turn like serious for you when you decided and when you really felt like, hey, this is something that I really like, I'm passionate about, or something like I really want to like invest in?
It was like off and on, I would say, you know, like I think a lot of artists kind of have that similar path to where like you try it out as a kid in high school, and like, you know, you of course in high school it's a little cool, you know what I mean? Like you're going to these parties, you're going to these shows as a kid, you know, you're grabbing the mic, you get to tell your friends, you know, at school, like, hey, yeah, I do rap or whatever. But then you get out of high school and everybody's, you know, going to school, going to college, like advancing in their careers and shit, and you're kind of still trying to pursue this rap dream, but it ain't paying the bills. So, you know, you got to get a job, you got to work your ass off and, you know, try and pay some bills and shit like that. And a lot of times, you know, I'll be honest, like I don't make the best decisions financially. So, you know, I'm putting myself in a hole to where like I can't really invest in the craft like I wanted to.
Right.
But I think just recently, like in the past couple years, I really like have been zoning in and investing time, you know, and it took, you know, it's a rough journey, you know what I'm saying? You go through the downs, you go through where like, fuck, I don't want to do this because nobody's even fucking listening, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like who gives a fuck? Like everybody's just like, you get in your head, or I get in my head, like everybody kind of sees doing music as like a immature thing, or you know what I mean? Like it's not like you're a grown ass man still trying to be a musician type shit. It's like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
I get through that. I get that in my head a lot, and I'm just like, you know, man, like I got to keep telling myself like I love this shit. You know what I mean? So like when people like, you know, you probably had these conversations with school friends and like, oh, she's still doing the music thing. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I mean, I have to. I can't live life any other way. Like this is what I go to when I'm feeling angry, when I'm feeling frustrated.
It's more than just something to do. It's a true outlet for you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I think like, you know, just a couple years ago, I'm just like, man, I can really just invest in this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? And put, you know what I mean? Like my all into it. And you know what I mean? Like, don't focus too much on getting the materialistic things that, you know, you need with life. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like it comes with sacrifice. And I'm fortunate, you know, or I won't say fortunate, but like I have that freedom to do it now because, you know, I don't have, you know, kids, and I know it's harder to even pursue this shit because I'm sure you can attest to that.
Bruh, that's what, not to take away, but like that's just what personally, that's what happens with me, to where I had to really think about what's my goal, what's my end game out of this. I love what I do. I love creating. It's never gonna stop.
Yeah.
But now the focus has to shift because let's be honest, the music I'm making, the shows that I do, it's not putting food on the table.
Right.
I got 2 mouths to feed, and I got a third. My wife is working with me. You know what I mean? So it's like I need to make sure that they're taken care of. And I had to really have that conversation with myself. Am I willing to sacrifice time, food, money for this?
Yeah.
If I'm willing to sacrifice all of their well-being for my well-being, then I damn well better sure make it.
Yeah.
And I'm not at the level where I'm like, I can't see myself making that sacrifice.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, still do your music the way you want to do your music, but just now I'm more focused on corporate side of things. Now, like my actual 9 to 5, I'm like, yo, let me, like, this is a really good job I have. I'm making good money.
Right.
So why not invest my time in trying to move up in that field?
Yeah.
And then that music is now truly just, it's more fun. It's an outlet. And I'm not saying for you, like some people, they overthink it because they don't have anything else. All they have is music. And if the music don't blow, because that's where I was, music don't pop, bro, what you gonna do? Shoot, plan A is the same as plan B.
Yeah.
Plan B is to enforce
Nah,
plan A.
yeah.
You know, that's just what it is.
I don't really have that mentality about it either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like there was a time when I was like,
All right, of course.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, yeah, man, I need to make it. If I don't, you know what I mean? Like, fuck this shit. Like, I ain't working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you grow past that, I think. Like, and for any younger artists out there, man, like you will grow past that phase if you feel like, you know what I mean, it's this or nothing else. Because you gotta invest in it some way, and
For sure.
you gotta keep that job, man. Gotta keep that job, and
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm seeing now. I'm seeing that it's possible. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like before, I'd probably blow it on a weekend out or at a show. You know what I mean? That I'm not getting paid for. You know what I mean? Now I'm like more like calculated about
Exactly.
where the fuck I'm putting money at, what am I gonna invest in? Am I gonna do a video shoot with this money? Am I gonna do studio time with this money? Or you know what I mean? Like just paying for equipment,
Right.
for the podcast. I do the podcast, shout out Push Podcast, shout out Melinda Jameson.
Yeah.
We do the podcast, and I've invested, money into getting equipment for that, and it's just like, I'm seeing like, oh, I should have been fucking doing this the whole time. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's real cool. It's a cool feeling. It sucks that it took so long, but you know what I
I
mean?
mean, better late than never.
Right. Exactly.
You see a lot of artists nowadays that are just like 100% all in on this music side that you said they forget about the other aspect.
Yeah.
And so music is a lot more than popping bottles and shaking ass, folks.
Yeah.
It's more than just getting money, getting the best cars, the best houses. Some of your favorite rappers had to invest to get those things. They didn't just get it off of talent alone. Trust me. Maybe back then that was the formula. Back then in the 90s, if you was hot, oh yeah, somebody spot you, yeah, you hot, I got you.
Right.
In today's generation, it don't work that way.
No.
Talent alone is not enough to bring you somewhere in this world. Even some of these artists that get TikTok famous, they fade out because they don't capitalize off of that fame.
Most definitely, man. They need you need to put content out now, like
absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that's where the competition is on these social media, man. That's where people are getting discovered now and stuff like that. And yes, it's still cool to like go out and do those mics and stuff. And, go out and perform in the streets or whatever. But you definitely need to record it while you're doing it.
Yeah.
Put it on Instagram or something.
I mean, we all put our footwork in. Hitting the streets.
Yeah.
But a lot of us that are, I mean, is it fair to say we're seasoned now?
Yeah,
I think it's we've been out here for some years, man.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the foot traffic that we put in now, it's like, okay, me spending that time to do that open mic, I could be shooting a video, I could be recording, like instead of I could be at an actual show selling merch, getting money off of that, something like that, instead of just like open mics are fun. I'm not saying anything bad about open mics.
No, yeah.
But once you've done as many as we've done, at a certain point, you're like, all right, it's not hitting the same no more. So now I got to truly invest in bringing everything back.
Right.
So what results have you seen as far as like personally, yourself personally, like what have you seen from like really truly 100% invested in? Like, do you see yourself like those conversations that you used to have, you see them stopping and you see yourself like going for a lot longer, or do you still feel like, I don't know where my timeline is with this?
No, I see myself going, further, and it's not that those conversations don't happen anymore. It's just like now I know what to say to myself whenever, you know what I'm saying? Whenever that thought comes up, like, oh, you getting too old for this shit, and it's like, look at Killer Mike, just won 3 fucking Grammys.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? At 40 something, like 50 years old.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I don't know how old is it. Sorry, but I know he's up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And he even said on his acceptance speech, he was like, don't ever tell me like you too old for this. Don't ever tell me all this shit. And like that spoke to me. So like that's what I'm saying. Like now I'm kind of like, now that I'm focused on it, I'm like, I know what to tell myself when that thought comes up, when those thoughts comes up, like, you need to fucking hang it up. And it's like, nah. I don't. I'm all right. I'm good where I'm at.
For the longest time, hip hop was perceived as a young man's sport.
Yeah.
It really was. And with new generation, with TikTok, how crazy TikTok blew up during COVID. You know what I'm saying? Like now everybody's like, oh yeah, it's definitely a young person's sport. And it's like all of the young people that you see that get famous, they fade out extremely quick.
Yeah.
But
they all kind of have that same sound and stuff, you know.
But the music that you make is classic. It's a vibe. It's something that you're not about to just turn on and listen and then turn off and go to something next. Like yours is like, oh, I like that. I wonder what more he has.
Right.
So where did like that influence of that sound? Like I know you talked earlier about your pops. He made like R&B, like funky type stuff, and I heard a lot of that in your music.
Yeah.
Was that your main influence, or is there like other artists, like big name artists?
Yeah, I mean, like of course he would always put on like the R&B, the soul shit, the hip hop shit, you know. And growing up, I would listen to like, you know, Biggie, Big Pun, you know, some R&B. I had a Black Eyed Peas album that I played all the fucking time. Elephant, that shit was the shit.
Oh, dude, yeah.
And I just kind of listened to a little bit of everything. Linkin Park. My brother, he'd always bring home like burnt CDs, and I burned those CDs. It was just it was all kinds of music, and I just noticed like the music that I gravitated towards the most, and I think a lot of people are like this, is the shit that was just real and like true to every feeling. Like if you listen to an album and felt every fucking emotion, like that was a fucking good album. You know,
right?
I mean? Like they got songs where they're having fun. They got songs where they're, you know, being vulnerable and, you know, get you emotional. They got songs where they're mad and angry at the world or at somebody else that's fucking dissing them. You know what I mean? It's like you feel all that shit and you hear the stories. Kanye West is good at doing like albums like that, you know what I mean? Like front to back, telling the whole fucking story with Late Registration, College Drop, and Kendrick Lamar, you know, with Good Kid, Mad City. That's something that was a big influence for me, like in high school, like listening to his story. And like I was like, yo, that's kind of like me in a way, you know, around all these gangsters, all these hood dudes, and just like fucking, I can't, you know, I'm not that guy, but I could tell the stories type shit.
Right,
you know what I mean? But
has that always been your MO? Like I know as kids, yeah, we do see glitz, glamour, fame. Let's rap about that, obviously. But when did it start to shift for you? You said around like Good Kid, Mad City. That's when it shifted, or before that?
I would say around that time, really like Eminem too early on, like the shit that he would rap about and the emotion he would put in his raps and stuff like that. You know, I think Kendrick kind of took that and ran with it as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, Outkast and shit like that. Like all of those influence that he had, I went back and, you know, listened to as well. Cause, you know, I'm like 28, you know what I mean? So like I wasn't around, like I was born in 95. So the shit that was really coming out in the 90s, like I was a baby, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So you didn't really like get to hone in on the early 90s stuff. You were at the tail end of Pac.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Pac and Biggie just died, you know what I'm saying? I was still like a baby, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like I had to like go back and listen to all that stuff, but like I've always kind of had that old soul, you know what I mean? And like I said, man, just hearing those songs that really zone in on an emotion, like a certain emotion, that's where I resonated with, and that's what I kind of focus on with, you know, rapping and stuff like that. And yeah, it was around like maybe 15, you know, high school years when I really started just writing my story.
Right. So what is the Ry'kno story?
Shit. It is fucking crazy. I mean, I think everybody has their own unique, you know, crazy stories. And mine might not be as crazy as some, you know what I mean? But like to me it's a wild ride, you know. Looking back, I grew up, you know, in a moving house to house in Wichita Falls, you know, single mom. My pops was around, you know, but he wasn't always around, you know what I mean? And especially like, you know, financially and stuff like that, you know, I mean, we kind of had to look out for each other, me and my brother and my mom's a lot of the time. And I saw, you know, heartbreak, you know, coming up from not only my pops but my step pops at the time, and you know, like just seeing her cry and shit growing up, seeing that, you know, seeing these love stories fail in front of my eyes. And I get a lot of that, you know what I mean? And I, you know, put it into the art, and especially this EP that I'm putting out, you know, that's kind of the love story that I'm focusing on there, is like how I view love and how I've seen love, you know, be portrayed and not successful and successful sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, uh, it's just a wild ride, you know.
So expand on that EP. That what's the name? What's the title of it?
It's gonna be called Solo.
Solo. Okay.
Like Han Solo, but SOULO.
Okay.
Shout out to my cousin Ob. He's a producer.
Yes, sir.
He's in the room. But yeah, man, me and him kind of linked up a few years ago, and we were on the road, you know, working, and he was, you know, starting the production, like really like zoning in on that. And a lot of these songs we made like what 5 years back or so, like
No, I think the oldest one's probably 2.5.
2.5 years.
Three.
Charger.
Charger's like 2.5 years old.
I thought we made that like 2020.
Or it's 2024 now, but it's the beginning. So
Yeah,
3 years.
3 years. 3 years is still a long time.
Yeah.
Man. We 3 years ago, you know, we started, you know, working on this project, and some songs didn't even make it, and we switched them out, you know. But that's really what it was about for me. It was just kind of reflecting on how I saw, you know, love, and it's kind of more like a soul R&B type shit. So
Yeah.
it's one of those, like, you know, that's a reflection of how I see love and everything like that.
So who out right now? What was if we pop open your phone right now? Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever. Who you bumping?
Bumping a lot of got a lot of Anderson .Paak on the playlist.
Okay.
Got a lot of Kendrick, of course. Always been a big fan of him. Got a lot of, I'm trying to think of somebody kind of recent. Marlon Craft. I just came across him. He's like,
I haven't heard of him.
Low key. He's blowing up now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
On Instagram. And yeah, I was listening to him, and I'm like, you know, on his shit right now too.
Marlon Craft. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Bro, super dope. Super dope. I think he's from like New York or something.
Oh.
Yeah, super dope. And you know, I got y'all on the playlist. Yeah, oh man. Y'all are inspiring me, man. And you know, shout the homies, man. Milo Slip, you know, Crow Spit Stain, all them, man. Like I keep everybody on my phone, you know, and it'll just come up. I got like fucking 1,500 tracks on my playlist, and
sheesh,
like,
bro.
Shit was
I say sheesh, but that's like fine. I'm thinking about it's like 12, 1,300 on Spotify.
Man. I'm just like, anytime I hear a song, and like I could just be in the grocery store, I'll hear a song, you know, and I'll fucking Shazam that shit. And go back. And
so you're one of those people where you like, oh, I like that vibe.
Yeah. I ain't afraid to pull out Shazam.
No.
Some people are. I'm just like, sometimes I am.
It's like, I like this song. I want to know what this song is. No, there's nothing wrong with that.
So put me on a bunch of songs too, man. And yeah, I just like everything, man.
Yeah.
If it connects with me, I'm fucking bumping that shit.
Top 5. Who you got?
Hip hop.
Dead or alive? Top 5 hip hop.
Hip hop. Shit. I'm gonna go.
No particular order. It gotta be a particular order. But just your top 5 who you're like bound to.
Top 5, I would say Cole, Kendrick. I got a lot of Cole on there too. I forgot to mention him earlier. Cole, Kendrick, Black Thought, Royce the 5'9".
That's another
this
name.
Is just coming off the top. This is just coming off the top. And there's probably who else, man? There's somebody else. I want to say Eminem, but it's like
I was thinking that. I was thinking. I was like, oh, you gonna say M?
He's mentioned so much, and man, fuck it, I give it to him because, like, you know, what I mean, he did do a lot. You know, he's prolific as fuck. He's lyrical as fuck. His recent shit is, I mean, he still got the bars. still murdering
But
shit.
I think it's to a
Don't
point.
want no beef.
No, at all. But I think it's to a point where now he realized that he doesn't have to prove anything to anybody. So now
Yeah.
he's just like,
Yeah.
he's just
Exactly.
he's in that same zone I'm in. Like, yeah, I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna spit, and you know, if you like it, you like it. If not, you're not. At the end of the day, I know I'm dope as fuck.
Yeah.
And you could still listen to him and be like,
So
yeah, it don't sound like it used to, but
yeah, for that reason, I think he's up there too.
he's got to be. I don't like. I listen to a lot of him. I say Cole is definitely my goat.
Mhm.
There's multiple goats, but
Especially that shit he
J.
just
Cole,
dropped, man.
bro.
Like, yo, oh yeah,
if you guys haven't, if he hasn't deleted it yet,
you can tell
if
he's sitting on this shit.
bro,
Like, wait,
just go listen to Might
Wait.
Delete Later, a vlog on by J. Cole. You will not be disappointed.
Yeah.
Trust me. The man is I don't know. It's crazy. It's more personal with me.
Yeah.
Because when he came out with Friday Night Lights, like, which is to this day, I say that's one of his greatest projects of all time.
Yeah.
Of a lot of, like, when we talk about classic mixtapes, classic projects, you know, Cushion OJ with Wiz, Kids with Mac Miller, Friday Night Lights is up there with me. And so at that time when he came out, he was like rapping the soundtrack to what I was doing, just out in the streets, chasing hoes and hooping. That's legit, bro. I was hooping. We would hoop from sun up to sundown, and you know, on the phone, and you know, like that's what it was with me. So what artists, whether it be an artist now or artist then, what artists do you feel personally you connect with, like they tell your story?
It would be more Cole. I would say more Cole. I would say Kendrick, but I wasn't like, you know, as close to the gang shit as he was. So I'm saying Cole because like he had you know, the mixed bring up, you know what I mean? Not like having that complex, and I'm half Indian, half Mexican, you know what I'm saying?
How did that work?
It did. No, they just had me, and yeah, that was me and my bro, you know, and that was it, you know.
Was that always like a point of like ridicule in school?
Yeah. I mean, especially after like 9/11, like,
oh god,
wasn't really fun.
I could imagine. It's like, nah, that's not my Indians.
No, it's the wrong.
That's wrong one.
It's not us.
Yeah. You claim it when it's convenient.
Yeah.
When it's convenient, you claim it. You're like
a bar.
Yeah.
I had a bar like when I was a kid. Like, call me a terrorist. I'll show you some terror, bitch. And it doesn't land too well now, but.
He just put it all out there, just like, hey, if that's what y'all going to say about me, then fuck it. That's, you know.
I was on that Eminem shit, like, I'm gonna say it about me before you say it about me.
They're going to some shit that they don't know about me.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god. So what's your writing process like? Like when you're like, well, I don't want to paint the picture because I know everybody, even the very early stages of writing.
Yeah.
So let's say, you know, like you're trying to make a song. What's your process like?
Like early on, it would be like, you know, I'd go to some beat websites or YouTube, you know, go through the beats and like whatever like clicked with me, that's what I'd write to, you know. And it's usually like all the SoundCloud shit was YouTube beats, shit that I found off of YouTube or SoundClick. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember SoundClick.
Yeah. So it was like tracks like that, man. Just kind of finding something that really hit me and like, you know, writing to that, just having like cool ideas with that. Sometimes, you know, I like a beat and I can't write something, you know, just as quick, but I'll come back to it a little later and write some fucking badass shit that I didn't even know I had, or maybe I just didn't experience it yet. So I don't have the words to say about it, you know? But now it's more like, you know, I'll get in the studio with my cousin and, you know, he'll start working on some beats, you know, he'll throw like a sample on or some sounds on, you know what I mean? And he'll be like, yo, you want to start with this? I'm like, yeah, let's go with that. And now it's like more of like a from scratch process, you know what I mean? I really fuck with that because it's just like it's like you're kind of developing your own sound, you know what I mean, in a way, and our own sound, you know what I mean, together. And I like working with other producers and even producing a little bit myself, you know what I mean. I'm not like the best mixer on it, but I got like some pretty cool ideas, you know, and I think like having my cousin in the studio too, man, it helps bring those to life because he's a fucking beast at it, man. He went to work, you know, and learned all the tricks of the trade, you know what I mean, and really like took the time and invested the time and the money, you know what I mean, into being the best producer he could be. And you know, he's still growing and still gonna make other shit, you know what I mean, that Two True is gonna put out, man. And I'm excited to hear those. I'm excited for everybody to hear those. And right now it's my time, you know what I mean, like we finna put that solo tape out and shock motherfuckers, I think.
So when is a release date for that? You have a release date set in mind, or still?
Still kind of up in the air. It's looking like, you know, later March. You know what I mean. Right now, I'll say that. I don't want to put a date on it yet, but it's looking. It's soon. It's very soon.
See, I've always, and maybe this was me just being hard headed, and even probably still to this day, it was always hard for me to find a producer to make like beats like for me. And so like I'll always get approached, hey man, let me make your beats. Oh yeah. And I'm just like, nah. Cause honestly, I don't even know what I want. Cause I still do the same thing, bro. I just go through YouTube.
Right.
And
or there'll be those producers that'll be like, I got beats, and you look at their beats, fucking with like,
that's if for me, I would rather, instead of you saying, hey, I'm gonna make a beat for you, send me a list. Listen to my music and I think these you would like. Just send me a list and let me kind of just like cycle through and see which one fits for what I want to do. And then after a while, when I build that confidence and that trust, then I think as you start to hear my sound more, then you'll be like, oh, I know what sound you would like. For me personally, I think that works better for me. But I've never been in like a studio where I had, I'm gonna make this beat for you. Like, so, I mean, the fact that y'all have that, I mean, obviously your cousins, you already got that trust, that factor in there, you know, you already got that love, that familiarity with each other.
Man.
But to have that is like very invaluable.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also the way he works as well. Like he asks you, you know, if you're feeling it, you know what I'm saying? If you're not feeling it, he's very much like this. Like if you're not feeling it, like, why even waste time even working on it? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not finna sit here and waste the time and produce a whole track
for you to say, nah, I don't want it.
Yeah, for you to not even fuck with it. Like, if you're not fucking with it, nobody else gonna fuck with it. You know what I mean? Or your crowd is not gonna fuck with it because you want to make shit for you. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the mindset that you have to have when you're working with artists. I think that's what makes a great producer. You know, like the Pharrells, the Timbos. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that they're in the studio, like, what are you feeling today? You know what I mean? Like, how are we gonna go about this? Or, you know, they might play some beats and be like, yo, I've been working on this, and then somebody's like, now he's at that point where he's like, oh, I've been working on this, and now we're all fucking fighting for the beat. We're like, oh, let me get that one. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a process for sure, but I'm glad that he really took that step and, you know, and zoned in on it, because that's really what we needed as a label, as Two True. You know what I mean? We needed that. We needed Obi, man. So shouts to Obi, your only hope.
You hear that? You're the only hope. So they're counting on you a lot.
Help us, Obi. What?
So if you're not doing music, not a factor at all, what are you doing with your life?
Shit. I'm probably watching some shows on Netflix, you know. I've been trying to get into Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but I just haven't had the time lately. But I want to, like, you know, I'm probably just living a regular life, you know, working 9 to 5, doing what I'm doing now, but just not doing music. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'd say. I'd see. Also, like, you know, I guess I think I'd pursue something creative, you know, writing because I just love writing. You know what I mean? So I'd probably be writing scripts or something, or sketches or comedy. I try my hand at that sometimes here and there, but
But you're a funny dude though.
I am a little funny.
You're like, I mean, you got like this natural funniness about you that just kind of
Yeah.
like comes out. It's like if truly if we were to do like a comedy movie,
Mhm.
like you definitely, I'd definitely be like,
sign me up.
Cast you like number one lead character, bro.
I'm with it.
Like I definitely see that for you in your future when it comes to doing that. Like
Yeah.
pursuing that extra thing.
Yeah, and I definitely will like probably step back into it, but you know, since we've been working on this EP and shit, like, because I went to a sketch writing class in Dallas Comedy Club for a little bit, but it just wasn't what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
So I kind of like stepped back from it, you know, and really like zoned in on the music shit. Because I'm like, look, if I'm gonna put some time into, you know, the comedy right now, and I still ain't even finished like my project, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I need to like get back into writing until I just can't anymore, you know, or until this shit drops and I don't got anything else to do or work on, you know what I mean? But even that's like hard, you know, because I'm always like starting something new, you know what I mean? We're always starting some new shit, you know, and I don't know, that probably will always be there. And maybe after I drop this project, you know, I'll go back into the comedy shit a little bit.
Yeah.
But for right now, I'm like, let me focus on music and kind of mixing a little too into it. I mean, as a hip hop artist, I've heard, you know, your lyrics and stuff too. You throw those punchlines in there as well.
Yeah.
So it kind of helps if I don't write a joke, you know what I mean? I can kind of use that to get a punchline in or something.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
the bars and shit like that.
How do you get yourself out of like a creative blockage, like completely no sketching, no nothing? Like if you're just creatively just blocked, like what do you do to get yourself out of that, or do you just kind of just let it fade off naturally?
It might be like a natural fade off. Like there's days where I go home from work, you know, and I'm just like, I don't feel like doing shit today.
Yeah.
And I'll put on Mr. and Mrs. Smith or something. You know what I'm saying? But I think like, I think I just kind of like let the day pass, maybe come try and get at it tomorrow. Or sometimes if I'm like, nah, because if I don't do this now, you know what I mean? Like I might not get tomorrow type shit. So I'll go in and write, you know what I mean? There's I like you know, having people reach out to me for features and shit like that because, you know, that gives me something to work on while, you know, cuz it's mixing, you know, mastering the project.
Right.
And I've already written to that, you know, and I got a lot of beats that I've made that I haven't written to, you know what I mean? And a lot of, you know, other like beats that I have that I haven't written to. So just trying to focus on you know, putting it all on the list, making sure that, you know, I look at the list, like what do I gotta do? What can I do? You know what I mean? That kind of helps me like have a point of reference to go to, you know what I mean? Like if I'm just like, I don't want to do it, I can look at that list now. And this is like recently what I've been doing, you know. If I've been doing this like, you know, at a high school and shit, man, I'd have been out of here. You know what I mean? Like,
So I would have been a minute.
but this is, it helps you like to have that list because you feel like, you know, I don't got shit to do or I don't want to do shit. But then like you look at the list and you're like, I can do this. Like, oh, actually, I can. This would be fun. You know what I mean? This would be cool. And you don't have to do it all like me. I mean, some people, you know, schedule it like, you know, I got to do this. But me, I'm like looking
that's
you know,
Adi.
Yeah, I see, man.
Yeah, you got that board back there, like.
I'm like, nah, I can do this instead. You know, I move shit around a lot.
When you really don't need to.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
How many songs do you have unreleased right now?
Shoot. I couldn't even tell you like a number off the top, man. Too much.
Do you still have like a bunch of, like you say you still have beats that you haven't did anything to. That's a very extensive list as well.
The beats that I haven't written to, yeah, that's probably a lot. But it's not as big as the shit that I have written to, just haven't even fucked with or just like haven't went back to yet. You know? And that's like shit that I've produced, shit that he's produced, shit that we produced with AP. Shout out to AP. We're working on him. Shit that we produced with Vince. It's like shouts to Vince. He produced the Clarity EP that we did, and he was real cool to work with too, man. I've known him since like we were kids in high school and shit, going to parties and doing that. Like they used to DJ, Devin used to be the MC, and I used to just be dancing in front of the booth, like going crazy. But yeah, man, it's just like just working with all those like Vince, AP, Obi, shit that I've produced, and then it's a huge list. Like
you're just sitting on stuff that's just like, is there anything that you listen to back that you're like, man, I need to do something with, or anything that you listen to like, why did I make that?
Yeah, I've had those, man. There's some songs. There's songs that I thought were fucking dope, and Obi would be like, "Nah, it's trash. We're not gonna put this shit out. We're not gonna put this shit out." And I'm like, "Nah." I'm like, "Oh, you really like?"
I like it,
but
how
like
come you don't like it?
Or maybe not. I wouldn't say he said it's trash. In my eyes,
respectfully, yeah, a respectful way of saying, yeah, nah.
In my eyes, he's saying it's trash, but really, he's like, nah, we need something else. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this ain't. It doesn't fit. You know what I mean? With this project, and maybe we might come back to those tracks too, and on it something else, or maybe not. Because they probably are trash now, compared to the shit that we put now.
Like, I mean, because you constantly level up and you constantly grow.
Yeah.
So it's like there's songs that I have in the chamber that I listen to now, and I'm like, man, that's dope. But I know now, like, I'm way better.
Yeah.
And I can't duplicate where I was in that moment. So it's like, even if I go back to that same beat, if I wrote something new to it, it just wouldn't fit.
Right.
It wouldn't work. So now it's just like, all right.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's just sitting there because you're like, I can't re-record it because where I was then is different than where I am now. And where I am now, I'm over that beat.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still hard, but it's not hard enough to transcend time, because there are some beats and some things that you make back then that generationally now the sound just sounds a little dated.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
The worst thing you can do is sound dated. Like, it's cool to a certain extent. Like, everybody's bringing back samples. A lot of these new artists now are sampling 90s, 2000s hip hop songs and stuff.
Right.
And that's supposed to be like to bring that back. But as far as like independent artists, you hear that sound, man, I made that back in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so now subconsciously you're like, man, nobody want to hear that, man. All right, it's all right. I can do better though. So you totally just throw it out of your head. So it's just there.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're not getting better,
Random one-off question. I'm about to wrap up here.
Okay.
Superpower. Your favorite one. What would you want?
Man, I like teleportation. Because fuck traffic. And I'm always late anyway.
Well, it could just instant transmission anyway.
Yeah, if I could just be like, sometimes I just don't even want to go because of fucking the drive and shit. But like, if I could teleport, I'd be every fucking where.
That's true. So what's next for Mr. Ryan Ledesma? What's next for you, man?
The solo tape, man. The solo EP coming out soon. That's next. We're dropping a video for it. After that drops, we're dropping another video for it. I don't want to say too much, but I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see some little sneak peeks and stuff. But yeah, that's gonna be the main thing that I'm focused on right now is solo. Man. Solo EP.
Let all the people know where they can follow you, man. All your socials.
Follow me at RHINO RYAN LEDESMA on Instagram. Ryan Ledesma on Facebook. Search me up. Send me a friend request. I'm adding like just anybody these days. I don't know why, but I'm just accepting. Snapchat, I don't really get on it much, but I think it's like R Ledesma boy or something like that. Don't catch me lying, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, I think TikTok is Ledesma boy. Yeah. I think that's it. Yeah.
Well, my guy, it's been
thank you,
man.
It's
been awesome having you here, man. First episode of the Uprising. And when we come back, my boy Ryan, he's gonna give a special performance You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. Choice, we out.
Peace.
It's more like a bebop, but it's an oldie. I think you heard it too. It goes something like this.
Every day for the dollar, gotta get paid, get the guala. Spend it if it makes more, get you something nice for the hard work. Get it all, shit, it's all yours. What else would we bought for other than the fact that we was picked last and the ball sitting right there in our court? More money, more problems. After all, it's a small world. And for the law court, never gave a fuck about somebody like me. Hoes never fall in love with somebody like me. In the street, don't want somebody like me. Stick me up a few G's, now everybody like me. I done lost some jobs and stay grinded. I done done some wrong, I can't lie it. I done tried the drugs, yeah, I done tried to crash, yeah, I done tried to fall, I can't die, so I gotta keep it rockin', can't stop. Gotta keep it rockin', can't stop. Gotta keep it rockin', can't stop. Gotta keep it rockin', gotta keep it rockin', gotta keep it rockin', can't stop. Gotta keep it rockin', can't stop. Gotta keep it rockin', can't stop. Gotta keep it rockin', gotta keep it rockin', gotta keep it rockin', can't stop. Gotta keep it rockin', can't stop. Gotta keep it rockin', can't stop. Gotta keep it rockin', gotta keep it rockin', gotta keep it rockin', can't stop. Gotta keep it rockin', can't stop. Gotta keep it rockin', can't stop. Gotta keep it rockin', gotta keep it rockin', gotta keep it. Don't let go.
Would you like to be featured on an episode of The Uprising? Send your submissions to eso.media.inquiries@gmail.com. Also, make sure you follow us on IG at ESO Media 23 for the latest updates.
Down.